There's this really common idea out there that Muslims only believe in one holy book, the Quran. But what if I told you that, in reality, a person can't even be considered a true Muslim without also believing in the divine scriptures that came before it?
So let's just ask it straight up. Is the Quran the only divine book in Islam? The answer, honestly, might surprise you. And it might just reshape how you see the connections between some of the world's biggest faiths.
And I really want to stress this. This isn't some minor detail or a polite little nod to other religions. It's actually a fundamental, non-negotiable pillar of Islamic belief. The faith itself requires you to accept the divine scriptures that pave the way for the Quran.
Okay, so that probably begs the question, right? Why would God send multiple books to humanity in the first place? Well, to get the Islamic perspective on this, we've got to look at the whole idea of divine revelation itself.
So there's a specific term for this, Asmani Kitab. It literally translates to a heavenly book. It's this concept of a scripture sent directly from God, delivered down to us here on earth through a chosen prophet.
Probably the easiest way to think about it is like a user manual. I mean, when you get a new phone or some complex gadget, it comes with a guide on how to use it, right? Well, in the Islamic tradition, the idea is that when God created us, He didn't just leave us to wander around clueless. He sent these heavenly books as our guide, a user manual for how to live a good, meaningful, and just life.
And look, this isn't just some later interpretation. It's spelled out right there in the Quran. This verse literally defines believers as people who accept what was revealed to the Prophet Muhammad and what was revealed before him. It's baked right into the core of the faith.
So what exactly are these earlier books that Islam talks about? Well, it specifically names 3 major scriptures that were revealed to prophets who are, you guessed it, also central figures in Judaism and Christianity. The very first of these great heavenly books is the Torah, which in Arabic is known as the Taurat.
Now, according to Islamic belief, the Torah was revealed to the prophet Moses, or Musa. Its core message really revolved around divine law, justice, and of course, the worship of one God. This was the foundational guide for the people of Israel, and yes, that includes the famous 10 Commandments.
And the Quran doesn't just mention the Torah, it talks about it with so much respect. This verse here describes it as containing guidance and light for humanity. It's a clear affirmation of its divine origin and its absolutely crucial role in our spiritual history.
All right, the second major book that gets a mention are the Psalms, or as they're known in Arabic, the Zabur.
This scripture was given to the prophet David or Dawood, and it was pretty different from the Torah. It wasn't so much about law, it was beautifully poetic and lyrical. It was just filled with praise for God, with prayers, with deep wisdom. The focus here was really less on rules and more on the devotion of the heart.
And just like with the Torah, the Quran confirms its status with this super clear, direct statement. It's simple, but powerful. It directly names David as the one who received the Psalms, cementing its place in that chain of divine books.
And that brings us to the third book, one that is, of course, incredibly significant to the Christian world, the Gospel, known in Arabic as the Injeel.
This was the revelation given to the prophet Jesus, or Isa. From an Islamic perspective, the core message of the Gospel was all about love, mercy, and compassion. It was meant to confirm the truth that was in the Torah, but also to kind of ease some of its stricter laws. It was a message designed to soften people's hearts.
You can really see the beautiful way the Quran talks about the Gospel's impact here. It says that God Himself placed compassion and mercy in the hearts of Jesus' followers. It's just a powerful acknowledgement of the spiritual legacy of Christianity.
So all of this naturally leads to a very logical and very important question. I mean, if humanity already had the Torah, the Psalms, and the Gospel, what was the need for a fourth and final book?
And this is really the crucial point, isn't it? Why not just stop with the Gospel? Well, the Islamic tradition has a very clear, very structured answer for why one last, final revelation was necessary.
As it's understood in Islam, there are a few key differences. First, the audience. The previous books were seen as being for a specific group of people at a specific time. The Quran, on the other hand, was for all of humanity, for all time. Second, there's textual purity. The belief is that the original texts of the earlier scriptures were changed over the centuries, whereas the Quran is believed to be divinely protected from any changes. And finally, its purpose. The Quran came to confirm the core truths in those earlier books, to correct any human alterations, and to complete the divine message once and for all.
This belief in the Quran's perfect preservation comes directly from verses like this one. It's where God essentially takes personal responsibility for protecting the text. So for Muslims, this is the ultimate divine guarantee that the words they read today are the exact same words that were revealed over 1,400 years ago.
So when you put all of these pieces together, the picture that emerges isn't one of competing religions, but actually of a single continuous story of God communicating with humanity.
You can see it as one unfolding narrative. The message of law and justice given to Moses was then beautifully complemented by the message of praise and devotion given to David. That, in turn, was followed by the message of love and compassion revealed to Jesus, and then finally, all of it was confirmed, completed, and preserved forever in the final message given to Muhammad.
And that is really the ultimate takeaway here. From the Islamic perspective, Islam isn't some brand new religion that just showed up and rejected everything that came before it. No, it sees itself as the final link in the exact same chain of divine guidance that was given to all the prophets that both Jews and Christians also revere.
Which really leaves us with a final thought to chew on. In a world that's so often focused on religious division, how does knowing about this deeply held belief in a shared scriptural heritage change how we look at the relationship between Judaism, Christianity, and Islam today? It kind of suggests that, at their foundations, they might be far more connected than we usually think.